Hello and welcome to the DSR Daily. I'm David Rothkopf. I'm joined by Minna Stein. You might say, well, where's Riley Fessler? Well, where is Riley Fessler, Minna?
He's doing his civic duty, and he got
His,
called for jury duty.
oh, I thought he like enlisted in the Marines. Oh, well, jury duty. Then he'll be back at some point. Well, that's good. Good luck, Riley. We're all pleased that you're doing your civic duty. So, Minna, we'll go through the stories, and I'll see if I have anything to say about them. Probably won't, because it's all the same old.
And now I'm going to do my civic duty and go through these stories.
Okay, okay. All right.
I'm just as brave as Riley is.
You are every bit as brave and doing every bit as great a service.
Thank you. All right, to start off this fine Monday morning, following the first round of US and Iran nuclear talks in Switzerland, Vice President JD Vance announced that Iran has agreed to invite International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors back into the country.
Woohoo.
Securing this invitation was a primary objective for the US, marking the first potential UN inspection of Iran's key nuclear sites since they were bombed by the US and Israel. While coordination for the visit is expected to begin immediately, Iran has not yet confirmed the agreement, and specifics regarding the level of inspector access remain undisclosed as technical teams continue negotiations.
What an achievement. What an achievement, Bennett. Talk about doing your civic duty. But something in the back of my head said that there was once an agreement to have inspectors there on a regular basis. I don't know what happened to that. It's called the JCPOA. It was negotiated by Obama in 2015. And then some asshole tore it up, which then stopped us from having the inspection, which then allowed Iran to do more nuclear enrichment, which enabled them to build up the stockpiles, which then led to the assertion by Trump that there was an imminent nuclear threat, which then led to the attacks last summer, which then led to the war this year. Who did that? Who was the idiot that got us into this? That we are now celebrating the undoing. Oh, I remember. It was Trump. And the difference between this inspection regime and that one is that that was a real regime that was negotiated by experts, and this isn't. And the key elements of it are not known. And this is Vance doing what Trump has got him doing, because Trump knows how this is going to turn out, which is taking a deal that has to be less good than the JCPOA and has to produce a situation less good than the situation on the Strait of Hormuz the day before this war was begun, and trying to make that palatable to the American people and make it seem like an achievement. Except for this, it won't seem like an achievement. It'll look like a disaster, because it is a disaster, and somebody's going to be the fall guy. And Trump has very carefully figured out who it's going to be. His initials are JD. JD, you are in the crosshairs. You are the sucker. You are going to be left holding the bag, and couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Well, we're going to cross the pond for our next story. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced...
Well, we're crossing what pond? From Iran?
From the U.S.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
The pond
now
from
that pond. Yeah, okay.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced his resignation following an internal Labour Party rebellion, clearing the way for former Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham to likely succeed him by mid-July. Starmer's departure marks a historic first for the Labour Party, ousting a leader during their first term, and follows intense pressure after severe local election losses and sinking poll numbers against the anti-immigration reform UK party.
Look, first of all, this is going to be the seventh prime minister, or UK. They've gone through 7 prime ministers in 10 years. Their government is just not functioning, whether it's conservatives or the Labour Party. And that's why group like the Reform Party has seen an opportunity for themselves. Same thing happened in the United States with a movement called MAGA. Problem with MAGA was that they're worse at governing than either of the two parties that weren't so great at it. And that would be the problem, too, in the UK if reform makes any headway. But I think, there is something underlying all of this. The people of the UK are getting tired of government that, in the vernacular of the political science community, sucks. That's the same problem we're having in the United States. And, you get all these people and pundits, and they're out there. I saw somebody talking about Andy Burnham, the mayor of Manchester, and saying, well, he's a Mamdani-like figure. He's a progressive. And they want to put labels on it. And they want to say, yeah, the needle is moving in this direction in politics or that direction along some mystical arc of ideology that they believe exists, which doesn't actually exist. I think there's something else happening. And it happened in New York, it happened in Seattle, it happened in Washington last week, where there's now a Democratic socialist who's likely to be the next mayor of Washington. But it's happened also with other parties. It's not just something on the left or something on the right. People don't want government that sucks. They want government to do things. People have challenges. They can't afford the rent. They can't afford the gas. They can't afford health care. They're afraid of being bankrupt when they're old people. They need their Veterans Administration services. They want teachers in schools to have pencils and books. They want the government to work for them and not against them. And I think that is going to be the big issue in the coming elections in the United States. I think that is the issue in the UK. I just think people want government that is able to do things. And that's, Mamdani has been a modestly successful mayor of New York. Of course, it seems great compared to his predecessor, Eric Adams, who was one of the worst mayors in New York history, or Bill de Blasio, who was also a pretty crappy mayor. But, he's filled 100,000 potholes. He's opening grocery stores in neighborhoods. He's got a small tax on billionaires by taxing pied-à-terres through the government, through the state government. He's doing some things. And frankly, you if you're running for office in November and you want to win, persuade voters that you can actually, that you're, first of all, that you're actually listening to them. And that secondly, that you can actually help solve their problems. Leave the labels aside. Just tell them that you are going to work to solve real problems, not bullshit problems, not, oh, there are too many trans athletes in college sports. There aren't. It's not the core issue. They're trying to find issues to divide people. And that's just, people are done with that. They want good government leaders, public service, people who understand that government works for the people. It's not in charge of the people. And, who knows? I'm cautiously optimistic because there are signs that there is a movement in that direction. And it's sane, it's rational. It's, that idea of civic duty you were making fun of, Minna, coming to light.
I was not making fun of civic duty.
I know, you're a patron. I know, you're a patron.
And I'm all for a government that works for the people. It would make me proud to do my civic duty. But now
I know you voted in Washington last week, which made you one of about 200 people.
I voted. I mailed in my ballot. I researched every candidate for my ranked choice voting. It was very exciting. First ranked choice vote I've ever done.
Honestly, I think it's great. Honestly, I literally, I hope you're an example to everybody, because as of right now, you're not. But that's where we got to head.
Well, now we're going to jump a different proverbial pond over to Ukraine, because Ukraine's military announced that it successfully targeted and hit an electronics plant in Russia. using air-launched cruise missiles. According to Ukraine General Staff, the facility is a critical component in Russia's defense production, specifically manufacturing electronics for missiles. This attack represents the latest impact on Russia's military-industrial complex, driven by Ukraine's expanding long-range strike capabilities.
Look, this Ukraine story, you may be a little tired. It's been going on for over 4 years. It's like, okay. It's a, never-ending war. It's far away. Obviously, the toll on the people of Ukraine has been high, and the toll on the people of Russia has been even higher. But the story of how Ukraine has been resilient and responded to this and created a whole new industry, what they're doing in drone technology and cruise missile technology and air defense technology, and how they're fighting back against what was the second largest military in the world and winning. It's an amazing story. And, Donald Trump at the beginning of this term was saying, well, the Ukraine is losing, and, wanted to advance, views that would get, Ukraine to give in and do what Russia wanted them to do, because, Donald Trump does Putin's bidding a lot. But here's the twist. Ukraine is gaining ground. Ukraine has the upper hand now. Most analysts believe Ukraine is increasing leverage all the time. Russia's in an economic crisis. And now, just look at the past week, there have been strikes in Moscow. There have been strikes in St. Petersburg. There have been strikes in parts of Siberia. Ukraine is reaching out and touching Russians in a way that this is not some distant war. This is part of their lives. And Putin's old, and he is vulnerable in a way that I don't think Putin has been vulnerable for a while. Now, we do also have reports over the weekend that, Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, according to one book that's coming out, referred to Zelensky, the heroic leader of Ukraine, as, Mr. Bean in a bad suit. But this smug asshole, Scott Bessent, this smug asshole who just has no idea of what's important. Folks, Ukraine is fighting to defend democracy, fighting against an enemy who's threatening our allies, doing more to advance U.S. interests than the U.S. government has done since Trump took over. In fact, the U.S. government's been working in the opposite direction. Zelensky's a hero. Bessent's a tool. And it's an embarrassment to see how the U.S. has treated Ukraine, and it's inspiring to see how Ukraine has responded to the challenges it's faced.
I'd hate to interrupt this thrilling podcast, but we have some exciting news at the DSR Network. Our Substack is now live. Our Substack is going to be the new home for free and paid content here at the DSR Network. The best way to support us over at our new Substack is by becoming a member. Right now, there's an early bird special until the end of the month where you'll get 30% off of a new subscription with no code required. To sign up for either a free or paid subscription to our Substack, you can go to dsrnetwork.substack.com. That's dsrnetwork.substack.com. We're super excited for our new Substack and for you to join us there. We have a lot of things coming that we're thrilled to share with you in the future. We appreciate your support and thank you for listening. Now back to the show.
Between 2023 and 2025, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration allowed hundreds of thousands of lethal fentanyl pills to enter New Mexico communities as part of a controversial strategy to build larger criminal cases against major trafficking networks. This tactic triggered a federal whistleblower complaint from veteran DEA Special Agent David Howell, who accused the agency of severely endangering public safety and causing fatal overdoses through its willful blindness. While the DEA defends the operation as lawful and essential to securing historic busts, Critics highlight that New Mexico experienced a 21% spike in overdose deaths during the period these shipments went unseized.
Disgusting. Disgusting when it happened under Biden. Disgusting when it happened under Trump. Huge disservice to the people. And a classic example of how agencies lose sight of what their role is. The people in charge of the agencies believe that big busts are how people will evaluate whether they're doing their jobs well, and not whether the public is actually safer. And so they sacrificed the people they're supposed to be protecting in order to get the kind of metrics that would help them get ahead in their lives. It's repugnant. It's good the story is out there. With luck, the practice will stop. And this is a completely nonpartisan issue.
And our last story for today, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro announced that her office will strictly prosecute anyone caught vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting.
I've got a nominee. Wait, I know who they should prosecute. I know a vandal who should be in jail.
I think I know one too.
Yeah, because there was one vandal who came in and took a perfectly good reflecting pool and then screwed it up, led to algae growth, led to disgusting stuff sliming around in there, led to it becoming a metaphor for Washington swamp better than any other metaphor. You know who did that? I bet you do.
I think I do too. Was it Trump?
It was Trump. It was the vandal in chief of the United States who has done similar things in the Oval Office, on the South Lawn of the White House, to the Rose Garden, when he did the UFC fight, when he tore down the East Wing, when he built a ballroom for billionaires to dance in while other people starve, when he wanted to build a triumphal arch celebrating himself, when he started covering statues of horses with gold because we needed to do that, when he started renaming everything after himself, when he put his name up on the Kennedy Center. I mean, that literally was defacing. It literally was illegal graffiti. Trump is the vandal in chief, Jeanine. And if you're going to go after a vandal who is illegally attacking and defacing Washington, save your money. Go to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, go in, clap the handcuffs on the guy, and prosecute him. You know, there are no vandals vandalizing the reflecting pool other than Trump. You know, because as Ted Lieu, a congressman who we particularly admire, noted yesterday, there are cameras all around the reflecting pool. If somebody were vandalizing it, we'd have them on tape. We don't, because that's not happening. The vandal is sitting in the Oval Office, plotting new ways to deface America at Penn Station, at Dulles Airport, at West Palm Beach Airport, by putting up his pictures on hanging them from buildings across Washington. So we see his big, ugly mug all over the place. That's a vandal. That's the worst vandal in U.S. history. That is a case for you to really chew on there, Jeanine, between your boxes of wine. Anyway, well, here we are starting off this week, much the same way we left last week. But we're going to approach it with real energy and insight and new guests and new things happening on our podcasts. So come back tomorrow for the Deep State Daily. Join us for the Daily Blast with the New Republic. Join us for DSR. Join us for Words Matter. Join us for Scylla Consciousness. Join us for Need to Know. There's a lot out there for you. And we look forward to joining you as we do it. Go through it all. For now, good work, Riley, wherever you are. Good work, Minna. And bye-bye.